All right, so if you guys are just joining, you're gonna need 2 blocks or books or, 2 blocks or books. And then you'll also probably need like a rolled up blanket or pillow or a couple pillows and a strap or a dog's leash or what else? I go through this every week. A strap, a dog's leash, scarf, belt, whatever can connect point A to point B. Again, you may or may not use them, but I always find that it's good to have them on hand. And it is chilly, so, but yeah, guys, so if you don't have yoga blocks at home, practicing at home is great, but it really is great to have a couple of yoga blocks. You can buy these relatively cheaply at like Target or like TJ Maxx, I know always has them, or Ross, Marshalls, they always have these kind of things and they're always on sale. They're always really cheap and they're just really good to have. You can buy, some places have cork blocks, some places have wood blocks, some places have foam blocks. Just get whatever is the cheapest because really it's just to keep the floor or bring the floor up closer to you. So whatever works, but the strap to 8 foot, 6 foot doesn't matter as long as I like the longer the better for me, but it doesn't matter how long. You can just get whatever size you want. But yeah, if you don't have those, I mean, you can use stuff from around your house, but it is nice just to have something dedicated for your yoga practice. It kind of makes it more solidifies your yoga practice. Like you invest. So if you invest in it, you want to spend time doing it. So anyway, it is 7 o'clock. I'm going to ring the tinksh bells. There. It's time to get started. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. I'm going to just place these to the side. I want to do a hip opening class tonight. I just feel like that's what I need today. So go at your own pace, make sure that you breathe and make sure that you listen to your body. This is not a competition within yourself and it's not a chance to feel bad about yourself. Yoga is about healing. It is not about berating yourself for not being able to do something you think you should. So in the spirit of that, we are going to start in, let's actually start on our backs in Supta Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. Reclining bound ankle pose. Now you bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees come out wide. If I know we're not warmed up yet, so if this is really tight, really intense, go ahead and take your blocks or whatever you've got instead of blocks and put them underneath of your knees or your thighs just like this. You can use the blocks that size, whatever you like. I'm actually going to do that. It's not going to take away from the stretch, but it's going to allow me just to kind of turn off the active muscles of a pose. So sometimes when you are trying to stretch a muscle, you end up tensing another muscle in order to make one stretch. Because if one muscle stretches, the opposite muscle has to contract. So if a muscle is contracting and it's causing any tension, then the muscle you're trying to stretch actually shuts off. It's got like these smart little sensors in it, so it kind of shuts off. So this is called a passive stretch. It's not called a passive stretch. It's called an active stretch when you're not like pulling something. If I were pulling on something to make my arm stretch up that way, that would be a passive stretch. Or if I was pulling my leg out like that, that would be a passive stretch. That's probably a better example. But anyway, I want this to be a nice active stretch, so that I am slightly using a muscle to open it. But I'll talk about that in another video. We don't have to worry about that. So anyway, close your eyes, bring your arms down by your sides, and just notice your breathing in and out. That's all I want you to do. Make a promise to yourself for this next hour that whatever your body gives you, whatever you are capable of, is good, is perfect, is exactly where you're supposed to be. So if you can't touch your toes, that's okay. If you can't do a split, that's okay. If you can't do a back bend, that's okay. Your body's not supposed to be doing that right now if that's not what you're doing. Allow yourself to be a beginner. Allow yourself to be tight, to be stiff, to be weak, because that's where we start. Like I said, yoga is about healing, not about hurting. So you want to heal your thoughts as well as your body. And our thoughts are usually the ones that are in the worst shape. Our emotions, our ego. Just let all of that go and just be perfect wherever you are, however you are. There's so much tension and anger in the world. This is our time. This is our respite. This is our calm, our shelter from the storm. So don't let any negative emotions come in and wreck that shelter. Just breath and peace. Everything in this moment for you is perfect. And you can feel like that anytime, any moment. You just need to stop and breathe in and breathe out. This moment is perfect. You don't need to think about the past. You don't need to think about the future. Just this moment. This is all that there is. Now notice where your brain is going right now in stillness. Are you anxious? Are you waiting for the next pose? Are you bored? Are you angry? Are you sad? Are you fearful? Whatever that emotion is, let's push that to the side and think to yourself, my body is breathing in. My body is breathing out. Visualize yourself breathing in. Visualize yourself breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Now, if your body has started to tense up already, then you should have started the pose a little less intense. So just take note for the next time. If you started off here, maybe start off up here, and then let your body open and adjust. I'm going to take the blocks, place them to the side, and we're going to gather the knees up and hug your right knee into your chest. Give it a nice squeeze. And cross the right leg over the left leg. Arms out wide, and you're going to drop the legs over to the right. They don't have to go very far. Just go far enough so that you feel the stretch on the left side of the body. This is just a little internal rotation of the thighs after we did that big hip opener. Come back to center. Take the right foot, place it on the ground, and hug the left knee into your chest. Just get a nice big squeeze, and then drape the left leg over the right. Drop the legs over to the left. Start to feel it. Oh, that's a really good stretch. I am really stiff. I could this is feels like when you wake up in the morning, you take that first stretch, oh man, I don't want to stop doing this. And then come back to center. Let go of the legs. We're going to just take the right knee into the chest, and we're just going to make some big circles. So grab the knee and just roll it around. Roll it around. And the other direction. Just kind of lubricating that joint so that we can work it. Notice if there's any popping, and there's some popping in my hip. And we'll take the left side. Left knee, grab onto the knee, and just roll it in some circles. Roll in, roll in, roll in. Breathe in, and breathe out. Let's go the other direction. So what a lot of people forget in your yoga practice is that the first pillar of yoga, actually the pillar of yoga, bring that knee back in and hug your knees into your chest, roll up onto a seat and bring the soles of the feet. Actually, we're just going to cross one leg in front of the other. So the first pillar of yoga is compassion. So you have to have compassion for yourself throughout everything that you're doing. Take your arms, reach them up overhead. Exhale, bring them forward, hands to the ground. So you can be upright here. You don't have to really come forward too far. So remember, as I always say, you're not rounding your back here. This is a bad position for your spine. So I want your back flat. If you can't get your hands to the ground without rounding your spine, then walk your hands back until you're seated. And if you need to sit on something to lift yourself up, do that by all means. This is not about hurting your back so that you can get your hands down to the ground. There's no prize there once you get there. So once you walk your hands out forward, just let your head drop down, but imagine that your spine is stretching towards the wall in front of you. So like I was saying before I interrupted myself, the founding principle of yoga is compassion, and we forget about that when we come to our mats, the very place that we need it, because we start to think to ourselves, oh, I should be able to do this. I should be able to get my hands all the way out here. Oh, I can't do that, so I must not be that good. I'm not good at yoga. You get all of this internal dialogue that just wrecks your peace and it wrecks your happiness, and that is the opposite of compassion. You want to turn that negativity off by breathing in and breathing out. It's funny, nobody goes into a gym and walks up to the weights and goes for like the heaviest weights and says, oh, I can't lift this, I'm not good at weightlifting. They know they have to start with the smaller weights first. So it's kind of the same thing with yoga, guys. You start small, and then you build on top of that. There's no shame in being a beginner and starting small. Start to walk your hands back, and then we're just going to cross legs. So opposite foot's going to go into the front, reach the arms up, and exhale, same thing. So you're going to notice the same sensation on the other leg, the other hip. So start at the top and then walk your way down when you can keep your back nice and straight. You feel your back rounding, walk your hands back until your back is straight. And just reach, reach, reach. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. Use your breath as a guide. If your breath is short and labored, then you are too far into the pose. If not, that's good. You're good. You're right where you need to be. And then we're going to start to walk the hands up. Nice. All right. Come on to a tabletop. So let's bring the hands underneath of the shoulders, knees underneath of the hips. Take off any extra layers that you may have that you want to get rid of. Fix the hair, fix the pants, whatever you need. And cat-cow. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the head, lift the tailbone. Stretch through the belly, and then exhale as you round. Tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, looking down towards your knees. Inhale, lift cat pose. Sorry, cow pose. I always say them wrong. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, cow pose. I don't know why, because this obviously is a cat, and this obviously is a cow. Keep doing that, kind of articulating through each vertebrae of the spine, and notice the stretch in the front of the body and the stretch in the back of the body. Notice if your feet tend to go together, and if they do, see if you can get them out so that they are, your shins are parallel to one another. Fingers are spread wide, and I want you to grip your fingertips into the ground like you're trying to claw the earth. This is called Hasta Bandha, hand seal, and that is what we do every single time we put our hands on the ground. Creates a lot of strength and avoids wrist pain. Okay, tuck your toes under here, and we're just going to press back onto your heels. Now, if this is really tight, your knees are really tight, your thighs are really tight, you're going to roll up this is a really sorry excuse for a rolled up blanket, but you are going to just place a rolled up blanket, towel mat, whatever, even blocks underneath of your butt so that you are lifted up and it's not such an intense stretch in your quadriceps, because that will tug at your knees, and we don't want to do that. So you're just kind of stretching through your toes. You might want to grab your pinky toe and bring it out if they get sometimes they get it stuck under there. And just rest. This is a really intense pose. We don't do this enough to our feet. And we're gonna come forward. Oh, okay. Point your toes and just pad your feet out. Good, 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 good. Okay. Come up a little bit onto your hands and swing your right foot forward and glide your left knee back just a little bit. Now, if you have problems with your knees on the ground, you can put a blanket underneath of your knee, or you can make a fold in your mat and just place your knee on top of that fold. I'm gonna do that because my knee is bony on that side. So, all right, point your toes. Now, if you need your blocks for stability, you'll take your blocks and place them right here. You don't have to be all the way down here to get a good stretch here. Just do this, come down as far as you can so that you feel the stretch in the front of your left thigh. The more you tuck your tailbone here, the higher up you're gonna feel this stretch in your belly, which is good, that's what we want. So this muscle goes all the way up to here, so that's where we want it. Hands can stay on your hips, or you can take your arms and reach them up toward the sky. Keep gazing forward, maybe just a little back bend here. And then exhale as you place your hands on the ground or blocks, and you're gonna pull your hips back for a half split. This is called half Hanumanasana. Pull the belly in, lengthen through the spine. So feel like you're making your spine as long as you can here as you pull your toes in towards you. If you can't get this leg straight, that's okay. Just do this action, pushing down, until you feel it in the back of your thigh. That's where you need to be. That's where your body starts to open up and process that it's changing the shape of the muscle. You don't have to push too far. Good. And then we're gonna come back, remove the blocks. Good. And then we're gonna take the left hand, place it down on the ground, and roll to the outer edge of the right foot. And you can place the right hand on the right knee and just kind of lift the upper body away from you. So back knee is still on the ground. I know a lot of my go-getters like to lift up their knee, but this is the beginning of the class, so we're not really working too hard right now. Exhale, bring it back, and then we're just gonna switch legs. Take the right leg back, and we'll take the left foot forward. So set yourself up, whether you need the blocks or not, you determine that for yourself. And hands on blocks, hands are on your hips, wherever you're comfortable. Tuck the tailbone, bring that stretch up a little bit higher in towards the top of this muscle that we're trying to stretch. Adjust any clothing that needs adjusting. And reach the arms up if you wanna. If you don't wanna, you don't have to. And just breathe. So this is really an intense pose and can create a lot of emotion. So notice if you start getting a little bit more emotional, whether your emotion is anger, fear, hate, guilt, sadness, whatever, anxiety, whatever it is, you might just feel a little bit more of it after you start opening up these muscles. So just expect that and just come back to breathing in and breathing out. Bring the hands down. Right hand is going to come down. You're going to roll onto the outer edge of this left knee. You can even turn the toes out a little bit if you want to. Press into this right hand. Claw the fingertips into the ground as you press the upper body away, if it's comfortable, from this left leg. This is a variation of lizard stretch. And bring it back. Oh, we forgot to do the half Hanumanasana. So using your blocks if you need them, hands on them or hands on the floor. You can walk your hands forward for a little bit more of a challenge, but keep your back straight. So if your back is doing this, you need to come up. You come down when your back is straight like this, and you can roll the shoulders back, pull the belly in. So there's a theme here, straight backs, yeah? always straight backs. Good, and now we're gonna come back to hands and knees. And if you've got your mat tucked under here, go ahead and stretch the mat back out and Press your hands down into the ground, tuck your toes under. So we're coming from our tabletop here. And you're gonna press the hips back. The knees are gonna lift off of the ground. Press back, 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 and then up, 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 till we come to our first downward facing dog. Okay, downward facing dog. Grip the fingers into the mat. If you feel like this is too much for you, place a blanket underneath of your hands or just come down onto your knees. So if you're on your knees, it's gonna look like this. This is just called puppy pose. This is downward facing dog's little cousin. But again, flat back here, guys. Flat, flat, flat back. Bend the knees if you need to. Heels can lift off the mat if you need to. And breathe in. One long line from the fingertips all the way up to the hips. So if you're doing one of these, you need to stick your butt up, press your hands forward. So I want you to feel like you're pressing the mat forward. And what that does, when you push forward with your hands here, your butt's gonna lift up and back and it's gonna lengthen you out a little bit more. So knees bent as much as you need. Okay. And we're just gonna bend one knee at a time. And again, if you wanna come down onto your knees, just come down onto your knees and hang out here. Eyes can be open or closed. Come back to stillness. And then we're gonna look forward and start to walk our feet up to the front of the mat. Bring them up there however you wanna get there. And come into a deeply bent knee forward fold. Let the head drop down and really, really let your upper body rest on your thighs. Even if you can straighten your legs and do a forward fold, you've got a lot of flexibility, bend the knees. It's not about that right now. It is about releasing the muscles in the back. Releasing the tension from the muscles in the back. So notice where you're carrying the weight. If it's shifting forward, if it's shifting back. And pull the toes up. See if you can avoid gripping with your toes. And then grab opposite elbows. If it's not comfortable to grab opposite elbows, just leave your hands dangling. But if you're comfortable with opposite elbows, if your feet are together, guys, just go ahead and open them up a couple inches. And we're just gonna hang in rag doll here. Knees can be bent still. If you feel that you wanna straighten your legs, go ahead and straighten your legs now. And you're just rocking the upper body side to side. Good, and then come back to center. Bring the hands to your shins. Lift your back so that it's nice and flat. And you're pointing your head forward as you're pointing your tailbone way, 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 way back. Good. Bend the knees, look up head first. Bring your hands up onto your thighs and then start to walk them up your leg. Come up to a mountain pose. Arms down by your sides. Inhale, reach your arms up toward the sky, and then exhale, bring your hands back to your heart. Good, one more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, we're gonna fold forward. Bend the knees anytime you fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway by bringing your hands on your shins or on your thighs or on blocks to lift you up as long as your back is flat. And then exhale, fold. As you step back, one foot and then the other coming down onto your knees. We come into our hands and knees first and then shift the weight forward. Fingertips gripping into the ground, pull the belly in, your one long line from your head down to your knees. You're gonna bend your elbows halfway, point the toes, pull the chest and the heart forward, roll the shoulders back. If you want, so this is just a modified cobra. If you want to pull the hips up or pull the knees up off of the ground and kind of shift your chest forward, this is upward facing dog. And then we come down onto the knees, tuck the toes, lift back, downward facing dog. Good, stay here for just a few breaths, maybe 3 breaths. One more breath in. Inhale, look forward, and you can jump, walk, or float your feet up to the front of the mat, coming into forward fold. However you want to get there, you may get there, and that's where it is. Wherever you are, that's where it's at. So now, this is where we are. We're hanging out in forward fold, and then we inhale, halfway lift. Hands can be here, or on blocks. Lots of options, guys. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, rise again. Flat back, gaze up, palms together. Exhale, hands and heart. Good job. Okay, so I think my mat shifted forward somehow, so I'm gonna just bring it back a little bit. I think when I folded it up. So we'll start off here. I'm not gonna do a sun salutation bait. I know, it's crazy, but we're just gonna get into some hip opening. So let's start with the right foot, right in the very front center of the mat. Step your left foot back. We're going to come into our warrior two pose. So your right foot, the heel is pointing directly to the arch of the back foot. Arms are going to come out wide and you're going to bend into your right foot. Now I see a lot of variations of this pose. I see where people are over here. I see where people are back here. You want your knee to be stacked right over top of your hip. You want your back toes to be pointing to the side of the mat or just slightly forward, not back. You want to turn on your right butt cheek. So you're going to squeeze that muscle like it's going out of style and pull the belly in. Your crown of the head, shoulders, and hips are in line. So if you're over here, they're not in line. So you have to imagine that there's a line going straight up from the ground all the way up to the ceiling, passing through the spine. So you don't want to be back here, don't want to be forward here. You want to be just perfectly even here. Arms are going to go out, palms facing down, and you're going to look over the right middle finger. Try not to grip with the front toes. So I always lift my front toes just so that I can make sure I'm not gripping. And this thigh is going to work. So you're going to feel it. Inhale, reach way forward now. Flip the right palm and then exhale as you reach the right arm straight up toward the sky, just up toward the sky. Take the left hand down to the left leg, or if you want, you can wrap it behind your back. Another option too is to take this hand and reach it over. This is a passive stretch, so I'm trying to pull my arm into a stretch. Gently, gently, gently. Good. Inhale, come back to warrior two, straighten the front leg, and we're going to rotate the right foot in, turn the left foot out, same thing. Warrior two over the left leg. Bend into the left knee. Good. Shift the weight so that it's even, head, shoulders, hips in line. Make sure that this front knee is over top of the front ankle. So if you look down, right past this left knee, you should just see in this little crook of your knee, you should be able to see your big toe. If not, your knee is too far forward or too far out. If you can see your whole foot, your knee is too far out. If it's too far in, your foot's going to be on the other side of the knee. So it really is important to keep your foot there for alignment for your hips. Squeeze the left butt cheek really tight, and that's going to open up this hip. And breathe. Flip the left palm, and then reach it way forward as you exhale, coming into our reverse warrior. Keep squeezing this right leg really straight. The back leg is straight. The right hand is down on the right leg, or reach it behind you for a bind, a half bind. And then inhale, come back to center. Straighten the back leg. Rotate the back foot forward, and we're going to turn right back into our warrior two position with our feet. So the right foot is facing the front of the mat, the left foot is facing the side of the mat. We're going to keep the hips straight as you press the hips back towards the wall behind you. Really push the hip, just pushing the hips back. So I want you to feel these top oblique muscles are squeezing. As you take this right hand down towards the right leg, left arm is going to come up. I want a straight line from here to here. So we're not rounding down to get the hand to the floor. The side of this side is straight. This side is straight. So we're lengthening the hips and we're lengthening the spine. So right hand comes down toward the floor. It can be, it can be on your thigh, it can be on your calf, it can be on a block here, 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 or it can even be on the floor. But you want to make sure that if I was looking at you from over there and I was looking this way, I would see one two-dimensional line. So butt's not sticking out, arm is not out here or back here, straight up toward the sky, and you're squeezing the oblique muscles. Gaze up. What you want to be able to do when you're looking up is close your left eye and be able to see your thumb with your right eye. So if you need to come up here to do that, this is the proper alignment to avoid injury in your neck and injury in your back. Lots and lots of instructions, right? Why is yoga so difficult? Come on up. Woo. Rotate the right foot in. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Lots of instructions on this side too. Same thing. Have your block ready if you need it. Start with your left hand on your left hip. Take your right arm, reach it up toward the sky, straight up. So you want to have one long line from your right hand to your left hand. But if you've got your left hand here or here, obviously it's not. You just don't want your arm to be forward or back here like this, straight up toward the sky. And squeezing through here. So you don't want to round like that. So come to wherever feels good. Maybe you can get your hand toward the ground or toward a block. This is my tighter side, so I'm not gonna even come down onto my hand. You just look up and breathe. Now remember, closing your right eye, and you should be able to see your thumb with your left eye. And come up to stand. Bring the arms down, turn both toes in. Now if you have sciatic pain for any reason, then you probably want to turn your toes out about 45 degrees. If not, you can pigeon toe your feet. And we're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So hands at your hips, stick your butt back, and you're going to come down with a flat back. So we're just coming down halfway. If you need to bend your knees, bend your knees. As long as you're sticking your butt out, you're going to feel this in your hamstring. So I'm going to show you from the side. So if you're coming down here and your back is rounded, then you need to bend your knees and stick your butt out to keep your back straight. If you need your hands on blocks, put your hands on blocks. They can be here, they can be here, or they can be here, or once your legs are straight, you can bring your hands to the floor. And just let your upper body drape. Now, if you are really flexible here, you can take your hands back here, stick your butt up. If your head is touching the ground here, walk your feet a little bit closer. So I can come down here and my head can touch the ground easily, but it's more of a stretch for me to bring my feet a little bit closer together and my head's not going to touch the ground. So, couple options here. If you are a headstander, come into your supported headstand. I am not going to cue you into that, but you know what to do if you are into that. Make sure that you're doing supported headstand, not tripod headstand, please. I don't want anybody doing that to injure their cervical spine. If you want to reach your hands back here, if you want to even try to bind your hands behind your back, if you're that flexible, you can do that. And there's lots of options here. Just take a few breaths in this pose, doing what feels good to you. Anybody ever see their butt in this pose? Try not to fall over on your back when you do this. So just make the best out of not so fun of a position. You gotta laugh at yourself, you know? Nobody ever told me my butt was that big. Sorry, that's a Spaceballs reference. I know my husband will get that, but I don't know if anybody else will. Sorry, I can't help myself. Okay, wherever you are, if you're in your headstand, come on down. Place your hands on the ground, and we're gonna lift up halfway. Woo! All right, everybody turn your toes out a little bit wider. Bend your knees. So we're gonna come down to this giant squat here and bring your hands to your hips. So now I'm gonna turn to face you guys. So this is going to be our goddess pose. So try not to stick your belly out here. Pull the belly in nice and tight. And we're just going to kind of rock side to side like a crab. Maybe you can even get funky and kind of crab walk. Probably nobody wanted to see that, but I had to do it. It was in my head. I had to do it. So anyway, we'll just pretend that didn't happen. When I edit this video later, I'm gonna go ahead and take that out. So yeah. Anyway, it's been that kind of day. So a few side to side movements here. I know my husband's probably shaking his head. Anyway, come back to center. And we're going to take the hands to the bottoms of the thighs, right above the knees. And thumbs down, and you're going to start to press the knees open and fold forward. And then we're just going to go side to side here. Just breathing the whole time. And then come back to center, drop the right shoulder. Woo! Try not to fall over. See, everybody does it. Everybody falls. Drop the right shoulder, look over the left shoulder. I don't know what is going on with me tonight. This has been quite the day. Come back to center and then drop the left shoulder and look over the right shoulder. I don't even have any eclipses or Mercury retrograde to blame my nonsense on. It's just me. Come back to center, and then we're going to straighten the legs. Turn to face the front and bring the front foot forward. Just give your legs a shake. Because we're going to come back out into some hip opening position standing, but I just want to give your legs a break real quick. Okay. Starting from we're going to come into our warrior one poses. So you're going to start with your right foot in the center of the mat, and then you're going to walk it just over towards the right side. So imagine there's a line on the middle of your mat going front to back. You want this right foot to be on the right side of the line. The left foot's going to be on the left side of the line, and you're going to step it back about 3 feet-ish, 4 feet-ish. Turn the back toes so that they're out on a 45-degree angle. Not like this, and not like this. Back heel is on the ground, back toes are angled out. And bend the front knee, pull the belly in, reach your arms up toward the sky. So there's no back bend in this pose. You want a nice straight spine here. And then straighten the front leg. Bring your hands to your hips and fold halfway. Now, this, again, is a pose that's going to require some long hamstrings. So if you're rounding your back here to get your back down, grab your blocks. And if you only have one block, you can take it and set it up behind this right foot and use it for both hands. But if you have both blocks, bring them just on either side of your shin. So anyway, rotate the hips toward the right, like you're scissoring your hips together, and then you're going to fold halfway, bring your hands to your blocks or your thigh or your shin or the ground. You're going to look just past your front big toe and breathe. If you need to bring your back foot in a little bit further forward, you can do that. Nice, long, straight spine here. Keep this front leg straight. So a lot of people try to bend the knee here to get out of the pose, to get out of the pain from the stretch. Instead of doing that, keep this leg straight and come up a little bit higher. If you're bending this knee, you're not going to get the hip opening benefits of this pose. You want this leg straight and you want your hips to both be facing down. So you don't want to bend the knee and kind of turn to the left a little bit. This pose is a lot of work. It is not an easy pose. So give yourself some patience. Allow yourself to work into it. Now we're going to come up. Come up the same way you came into the pose, just backwards. And then you're going to step your back foot forward. All right, so I'm going to do this from the other side. And you're going to have your your left foot, you're going to step over towards the left side of the mat. The right foot, you're going to step back. So this right foot is going to be on the right side of the mat. You're turning the right toes out 45 degrees. Rotate the hips toward the left this time. So you're kind of closing the hips toward each other. Hands at your hips, belly pulled in tight, and then you're going to fold forward. Now remember, if you're bending your knee here, come back up to the last place you were where you didn't have to bend your knee. Keep the knee straight. And if this is where you are tonight, just stay here. There's no need to have to come down and sacrifice the integrity of the pose just to get closer to the floor, because that's where you see other people doing it. That's not where your body needs you to be right now. Good. And then if you want to bring your hands to your thigh, your shin, or the ground. And breathe. Nice. Start to walk your hands back up. Come back to center. Good. And then we're going to walk the feet up to the front of the mat. So if you're not already there, come to the front portion of your mat. We're going to come into a yogi squat. So you want to have your feet about hip width distance apart or more. The further apart your feet, the less intense the pose, the more accessible it is. So keep that in mind. This can be really hard on your knees and really hard on your hips, so take it slow. So coming into Malasana, we're going to come down into a squat. Now right away, some people are like, oh my God, I hate this pose sucks, I can't do this pose. That's okay. Do this pose there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can come down onto one or more blocks. You can have your feet all the way out here if you want to, so you're just kind of sitting. You can have your feet far apart here and no blocks. You can have your feet a little bit closer and no blocks. But wherever you are, I want you to bring your hands together in front of your heart and feel like you're keeping yourself upright. Now, if you want to come into crow, but give yourself a second here so you can just open up before you do that. So the reason we come into this pose before crow is because this opens up the hips, and you do need open hips to come into crow. So I know that this is a beginner class, and I don't always teach this in beginner classes, but I am going to teach crow pose today with some beginner modifications. So I'm going to do this from the side. I know I get a lot of requests, how do I do crow pose? Or I don't want to do crow pose because it looks scary, but it's not. So first thing that we're going to do is, actually I'm going to teach it without the blocks first. You're going to bring your hands to the ground and crouch down. So this is so remember I said always keep your spine straight? No, in this pose you don't want to keep your spine straight. You want to round your back. So you're rounding your back, and you're going to round your back as you lift your butt up. And you're going to press your hands into the ground. Claw your fingers into the ground and come way, 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 way forward. Look forward, don't look down. Look forward, don't look down. Look forward. Lift one foot. Don't kick your foot up. You're going to come so far forward that the weight naturally comes out of your feet. And then you're going to fan your toes out like they are tail feathers. So as you're looking forward, you're fanning your toes out behind you So you're kind of evening out the weight, the forward weight with the back weight, the back energy. So you don't want to look down, you want to look forward. Now another option, you can come up onto a block because you're already going to be a little bit further away from the ground. So you're going to come up here and you're going to come into a nice deep squat. But your feet are already up higher, so you're already almost in your crow pose as you come forward. Now if you need to put a bunch of pillows or something in front of your face for a mental cushion, that's fine. You'll probably fall a bajillion times, but you are not going to hurt yourself because you're already this close to the ground. So if you fall, that's what happens. It's not a big deal. You don't go very far. So try it one more time. And if you want to just come into child's pose instead of doing crow, do that. But I want you to just experience it here. So again, we're going to bring our hands to the ground, fingers out wide, claw the fingers into the ground. Your fingers are your braking system. So if you feel like you're going to fall forward, claw the fingers in. They're going to kind of press you back. Tuck the tailbone, come forward, way, way, way forward, way further forward than you think you need to be. Good. All right. And so last modification here, if you're really good with your crow and you want to come into a chaturanga, I want you to explode back. And then you come into your upward facing dog. And when you're done, congratulate yourself. Come into child's pose. You did awesome. Crow is a gateway arm balance. So once you do that, you get hooked on it. And you want to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And then you want to do more. You guys are doing good. I didn't plan to do crow in the practice, but you guys did it and you did it awesome. Okay, so we're going to come up and we are going to come into our tabletop. You're going to take your right leg and slide it forward so that the right knee is behind your right hand and your your right foot is somewhere behind your left hand. Slide your left leg back. Okay, hips are squared toward the front. Press the chest up. Breathe and then come down. Now, if you find that you are experiencing a lot of pain in your right hip, then a couple options. You can take your block and place it underneath of your right hip. Or, if you know you're not supposed to be doing that to your hip, come onto your back and come into a reclining figure 4 with your hands here or here. It's just a reverse crow pose. So if you're here, a couple different options. You know, depending on where you are in your practice, you can stay here with your upper body lifted, you can come down, or you can bend this back knee. If you've got the back knee bent, maybe you want to come into mermaid pose by grabbing that foot with your elbow and take your front hand, reach up and grab onto the left hand. And look forward and breathe and then release. And whatever feels good to you. Take a few moments here, and if you've got an injury in your right hip, I want you to feel like you're squeezing your hip muscles together. Like you're tensing your right glute muscles, your right butt cheek muscles. We're not going to stay here for a ton of time. We're going to start to press the hands into the ground, lift up, and then come back onto our hands and knees. Now, if you want to move the leg around, you can do that. It feels good. The body self-corrects. So I know a lot of times people want to do a counter pose, to pigeon, but you don't really need to. The body does that for you already. So now we're going to take the left leg forward and the right leg back. Coming into whatever modification. You might be totally different on one side than you are on another. And just go with that. Just allow your body to tell you where you need to be. So this is my little bit more flexible side. Again, if you want your block here, put it here. If you want to come onto your back, go ahead and do that. You can come up or you can come down, just relaxing your upper body. If you want to come into mermaid pose, you'll bend your back knee and reach back and grab the right foot and slide that foot down to your elbow crease. You're gonna lift the heart, reach the left arm up and back, and grab the fingers together. So whatever you feel called to do. And then we're gonna come up and come onto your seat. So if you have a wall, you're going to use your wall. You don't have a wall available, you can just lie on your back and do this, and imagine that you're doing it up against a wall. If you have, we're just going to come into a wide-legged legs up the wall pose. So if you have your wall, you're going to sidle right up to it and lie down. Then you're going to turn your butt and your back so that you are facing away from the wall. Your butt is on the wall. And then we're just going to bend the knees and then take the knees out wide. And you're just going to kind of press the arms inside of the knees. And just breathe here. Try not to squeeze your glute muscles. Just relax them. Now, if you're off the wall, you're just going to be kind of doing one of these. It kind of looks like happy baby, but you're not holding on to your feet. You can even kind of rock side to side here. And then we'll straighten the legs. So here we're doing a little bit more external rotation of the legs. So now I want you to engage your glute muscles. So we're going to really bring these into the mix. And once you do that, you're squeezing your butt cheeks is going to actually engage the opposite muscles of the ones that we're stretching. So this is an active stretch like I was talking about earlier. This is not pushing down or pulling. This is one muscle group actively opening up another muscle group. So your outer thighs are helping out in opening the inner thighs. So you squeeze the outer thighs, squeeze the glutes, and point the toes down. That is going to create a really good environment to stretch the groin muscles and to stretch the inner thigh muscles. And somebody actually asked me last week, Tara, if you're watching, feeling a lot of pain right here and in the groin when you're doing these poses. That's because of a muscle called the gracilis muscle that attaches below your knee and goes all the way up to your hips. This muscle doesn't get stretched a lot when we are just standing or doing our regular activities. So you're going to find that that's the most tense muscle when you're doing these wide-legged poses. So that can be really painful, and that can be a really, really difficult feeling to that turns a lot of people away from doing this. But that's what that is. So an answer to your question. All right, guys, now to come out of this pose, you're going to use your hands bend your knees. So your hands are going to be on the outsides of the knees, and then you're just going to bring the knees back together. So you're on this legs up the wall variation with your knees bent. Good. You're straighten this left leg a little bit and drape the right leg over the left leg. And you can come away from the wall a little bit if you need to. Sometimes my belly gets in the way here, so I can't really do that. But you're just going to roll side to side. Using the wall is one of my favorite props. There's so many different things that you can do with it. All right, come back to center, switch legs. So left leg is going to drape over the right, and we're just going to go side to side. So if you guys don't mind, after this, you want to drop in the comments where you're watching from. I know I've got some of my friends up in Delaware, some up in the Northeast. I've got some friends down here in Florida. So, let's make it fun. Let's put where we are and what the weather's like. Come back to center. Okay, and then we're going to come up to just legs up the wall. So again, if your legs aren't up the wall, then just keep your legs straight up in the air. If you're up the wall, just rest your legs on the wall. And for everybody, we're going to take our arms straight up and just drop the hands. This is our sleeping tiger pose. This is really, really great for just letting all of your lymphatic fluid drain from the places it normally goes. Our lymphatic fluid is what keeps us healthy, basically. It moves all the fluids throughout the body. And when we swell, that's lymphatic fluid gathering in one place. So by doing this, we are forcing movement of that lymphatic fluid. We're not changing the direction of your blood flow. We're not slowing your blood flow. That is actually impossible for blood flow to go against gravity. So you don't have to worry about that. Then bring your arms down, bend your knees, and then we're going to come off of the wall and back onto our mats. So if you are already on your mat, congratulations, you beat us there. And lie down. Hug your knees into your chest. And then extend both legs down to the ground. So we come into our Shavasana, arms down by your sides. You can bend your knees, you can put something underneath of your knees, underneath your back, your head, whatever you want. I want you to find any position that gives you stillness. I'm going to give you about 3 to 4 minutes lying completely still and quiet. And give yourself a few breaths to just kind of get settled into the pose. When you find that stillness point, you find a place where you can kind of be just still for a few minutes, just be there. But take your time, get really settled into it. And as you come into the Shavasana, I want you to come into the Shavasana with the intention of finding compassion for yourself. So nobody is in your mind. Nobody knows what you're thinking. It can be as corny, it can be as, sentimental or sweet as you want it to be. This is between you and yourself. Your eyes closed. Give yourself an affirmation. Tell yourself something that you're proud of about yourself, something that you did well. Just a mental pat on the back. Give yourself some little emotional love. And then think about how you can take this compassion out into the world with you. Think about if we had more compassion, if everybody in our society right now in our country was just 10% more compassionate, would our country be in the state it's in today? We all have the power to change everything around us. Just takes compassion. So be there, be still, be quiet, and I will take you out in just a few moments. Begin to bring awareness back into your body. Begin to bring life into your fingers and into your toes. Begin to move your wrists and ankles. And when you're ready, hug your knees into your chest and roll over onto your right side. At the end of our class, we always come from our Shavasana, our corpse pose, because we let things die, we let things go like we no longer need, so that we can be reborn as we come over into our fetal pose, lying on our right side, to signify the rebirth, the renewal, regeneration of ourself. And then slowly bring yourself back up to a comfortable seated position on your mat. And now that you have this attitude of compassion and you've got this renewal of self, you can go out into the world creating peace and creating happiness. Bring your hands together in front of your heart and bow your head in a gesture to remind yourself of the connection between mind and body. Please go from here tonight with peace and inner strength. I honor the place in you where the entire universe resides. I honor the place in you of love, of light, of peace, of truth. When you are in that place in you and I am in that place in me, we are one. Namaste. Thank you all for sharing your practice with me tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed the practice. If you liked it and you want to keep getting free yoga, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell so that you can get notified when I go live and when I post new content. Hopefully, if this keeps going well, I will do more live free classes for you guys. My aim is just to put out content for you that helps you and that you like. So let me know in the comments what you thought. Let me know where you're from and what the weather's like there, so that we can just compare and contrast and maybe commiserate with each other if the weather is kind of icky. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please make sure that you post it in the comments. Namaste.